I personally know her. That's why.
All right. Okay. So it's exactly 2:35, and we're going to kickstart this session. So firstly, thank you so much for taking the time to join us for this info session for the Fulbright FLTA program, which is the shorter version for the longer name, which is Fulbright Foreign Language Teaching Assistant Program. The application cycle is for the academic cohort of 2028. Okay, just a couple of housekeeping rules. So throughout the session, we would appreciate if you can please keep your microphones muted. For questions and comments, as you have been using the chat feature so far, you can comfortably use that feature to raise your questions or comments, or the raise hand function feature, and please wait for the facilitator to give you the chance before you unmute and ask questions. We will have a Q&A at the end of this session, so please keep your questions rolling in, even though you would like to highlight any questions throughout the session, so we will address those as we go along. You can keep your camera turned off if you find that comfortable, okay? And so good afternoon once again, and I am Karenjit for those who don't know me. In today's info session, what we're going to be talking about actually would be introducing you to Fulbright, the Fulbright program, specifically then moving into the Fulbright FLTA program. We aim to provide you with the guidance that you need in order to prepare a stronger application, focusing also on components such as the objectives as well as the essay part of it and so on. Now, joining me on this call today, with some of you're familiar with, is our Senior Program Manager here at MACI, Ms. Teo Zim. I've got our Fulbright Program Coordinator, Ms. Shahira, with us as well, and an alumni who has just returned from the US, Ms. Siti Sarah. She's a Fulbright FLTA alumni for the academic cycle 26-27. So as mentioned, that we will conclude this webinar with the Q&A. So please post your questions as we go along. And now to start to introduce you to Fulbright as well as to Macy, I hand it over to Zaim. Zaim, over to
Thank
you.
you, Karen. And before I start, thank you so much to all of you. I think that one person just joined, but we have a pretty good representation except up north and down south, and that's what I've said earlier. But like I said before, I introduce on Fulbright. Thank you so much, Siti Sarah, who decided to join us today for this alumni session. When Karen said she just returned, we actually mean that she really just returned from the US. Am I right, Siti? Yes.
Yep, correct. I came back on the 13th of May.
So that is about a month ago. And all of you are very lucky to hear firsthand from her later once we are done going through the general information. So my name is Zaim. I'm the Senior Program Manager here at MACI. So for those of you who have not heard about Fulbright, and I can confidently say that most of you have not, so we hope after this session, you will learn a lot more about Fulbright and what we do here at Macy. So this year, we are celebrating the 80th anniversary of the Fulbright program. So Fulbright program is an international academic exchange program sponsored by the US government in partnership with about 163 countries. And since the inception of the program, they have produced more than 450,000 alumni across all programs. And there is also something called the Fulbrighter Network, similar to Facebook in terms of interface. And in Malaysia, there is also a local chapter for the Fulbright Association. So it is known as Fulbright Alumni Association Malaysia, or in short, FAAM. Over the 80 years, the program has produced 83 MacArthur Fellows. So MacArthur is mostly US skewed. So some of you may not know what that is. 63 Nobel Prize winners. I think all of us are very well aware. 93 Pulitzer Prize winners, 8 Fields Medal or a Bell Award for mathematics. And again, the last one is also unique to the US. And every year, the program grants 9,000 different scholarships or fellowships for Americans to the partner countries, and also for citizens of the partner countries to the US. And all programs cover, or all programs are actually open for scholars, teachers, professionals, and also students. Now, about Macy. So, in short, we call ourselves Macy. The long form would be the Malaysian-American Commission on Educational Exchange. Um, so what we do is that we conduct, we implement, we select, and we put forward the Fulbright program specifically. We are not part of the US Embassy. We are not part of Ministry of Higher Education. However, Macy is one of the 49 independent binational commissions. So what it means is that for Macy specific, we are jointly governed by the American and Malaysian governments. So on our board of directors, it sits 5 American representatives. They are from the US Embassy in Kuala Lumpur. And on the Malaysian side, they are represented by the Ministry of Higher Education, Ministry of Education, Ministry of Finance, and also JPA. So funding comes from both sides, as you can see on my second point. And we run programs from opening to the point where we send you off. So all the programs will be facilitated by both Karenjit and Shahira. And that also includes your visa. So do not worry. Like I said, we will guide you through the moment the program is opened, all the way until you secure your visa to the US, and we will make sure that you are prepared upon takeoff. And even when you are there, we still do check-in sessions with you to make sure that you're comfortable and you are safe throughout the program. And we have been here since 1963. That makes us 63 years old this year. And over these 63 years, Macy has facilitated the exchanges of more than 3,000 Americans and Malaysians. So, like I said, we have arranged a variety of programs. So, in totality, for those who are not aware, which you can visit our website later, we have 6 programs that send Malaysians to the US, and we have 3 programs that bring Americans to Malaysia. So in essence, that is all I have to share about Fulbright and Macy. I will hand it back to Karen, and later on, once we are done with this session, all of you will have the opportunity to ask as many questions as you want, whether it's about Fulbright, Macy, or about the FLTA program. All of us here, including our esteemed alumni, Siti Sarah, we are all here to answer any questions that you may have. So over to you, Karen.
Thank you, ZM. And so we're going to be moving on, talking now about the Fulbright FLTA program. So like every other Fulbright program, the FLTA program is one program that is also sponsored by the United States Department, United States Department of State Bureau, which comes under the ECA section, Educational and Cultural Affairs. Fulbright programs are basically developed, and this program specifically is developed basically to give Americans the knowledge of foreign culture as well as foreign languages. And how that is done, it is by supporting bringing teachers like yourself from more than 30 over countries to teach them 30 over languages, and they are placed in more than hundreds of US institutions, which are basically higher learning education institutions. Okay, as of right now, the program has offered a chance to many of the recipients of Fulbright FLTA recipients, and they are placed in over 50 countries with an opportunity not just to share on foreign culture as well as language, but also giving them the chance to be on this program to also develop their skills, professional skills, and to gain first-hand knowledge about US culture and its people. So this is where what we call as the a cultural exchange happens, where a teacher goes and basically not only learn about the American culture, but also share their respective culture from their respective countries. Now, once you are chosen as an FLTA participant, basically, like I've mentioned, developing professional skills, you will also have to have the chance to enhance your teaching skills, being able to refine what you already know. Basically, it go into in-depth of refining your instructional techniques, methodologies, boosting English proficiency, of course, because you'll be based in an English-speaking environment. So if you feel that this is going to give you a chance to improve your language proficiency better, yes, it definitely will. Immerse yourself in learning about not just the US culture, but you'll be meeting other Fulbright FLTA candidates as well from other countries. So it's basically learning about not just the American society and culture, but the culture of the other Fulbright FLTA recipients from that country as well. And of course, engaging with the community that you're going to be placed at. If you are having a chance to meet with other Fulbright FLTA recipients, you will be having a chance to mingle around in conversation groups, in extra activities, extracurricular activities, and even such as community outreach projects. So this is just a little bit about what lies ahead if you are chosen to go for this program. Now, one of the third party, or what I would say, our collaborators in the US that we work with for our Fulbright programs, including the FLTA program, is IIE. Now, for those who know IIE or those who don't know, IIE is our counterpart in the US, and they are the Institute of International Education. Basically, for the Fulbright program, IIE administers majority of the programs from countries ranging from Africa, Europe, Eurasia, East Asia, Pacific, and also the South and Central Asia. In addition, IIE also handles participants from Middle East and even for Western Hemisphere. So basically, IIE has been one of the longest running administrative agency that has been administering the Fulbright program since its inception in 1946. So as of right now, there has been, for all the Fulbright programs rendered across the board, they have been successfully working with about 28,000 participants in over from 180 countries, and have placed around 5,700 international students in US universities, as well as dealing with 6,000 over students, US students studying abroad through all the IIE related programs. So for FLTA as well, we will be working with IIE when it comes to the placement, as well as together with them supporting in terms of finding you the proper host institution. We'll be collaborating and we'll be guiding you together with IIE's guidance for those who will be selected to go on the program. All right, now a little bit about the eligibility of the program. This program, and like all Fulbright programs, our programs that open basically is catered for Malaysian citizens only. And Malaysian citizens, and you have to be residing in Malaysia at the point of application. So if a person who is applying for this program happens to be working or studying abroad, they will not be able to, they will be ineligible to apply for this program. Now, this program is open so far for teachers who are under 7 years. So means if you are a teacher, full-time teacher, teaching experience, but your experience is under 7 years, you basically are able to apply for this program. All right. An applicant needs to have of a minimum bachelor's degree. So you need to have a bachelor's degree. And of course, applicants here who are applying for this program typically are early career teachers. That's the reason why it is actually open for teachers who are basically under less than 7 years of experience. So anything more than that, okay, you will not be eligible to apply for this program. Okay. Now, in terms of what are the subjects or what are the areas you're looking at, you can either be a teacher in English, or you can either be a teacher in training, okay, a teacher in training for English, or even an early educator in the fields, which is not just limited to English, but even it's open to those who are teaching Bahasa Melayu, areas such as humanities, tourism, and even literature. Okay. Of course, in order to apply for this program, an applicant needs to be eligible for leave. So you have to be eligible to be, get a paid leave. Most of the time that whenever you fulfill all the requirements, you will be allowed to get a paid leave. So ensure that for the 9 months or the 10 months duration that you're going to go for the program, you are allowed to get the leave that you are required to take from your school. All right. In addition to that, an applicant must be fluent in English. All right. So TOEFL is an exam that we will actually look at in terms of the scores. Now, if you're sitting for a paper-based application, we're looking for a minimum score of at least 550 and above. Or if even a computer-based test, the minimum score should be ranging from 79 to 80. Now, most of the time, we always get questions be like, okay, TOEFL is a little bit expensive, so do I need to sit for TOEFL at point of application, or do I need to sit for it later? No, you don't have to sit for your TOEFL examination at the point of application. Shortlisted candidates will be given the TOEFL voucher. So you don't have to register for the test. All right, as long as if you are shortlisted to go, you will be given a voucher. So for you, then the TOEFL test will be free. There will not be any charges involved. Okay, basically, as you know, that this is an exchange program going to the US to teach your foreign language. In this case, for us here in Malaysia, it will be teaching Bahasa Melayu. So obviously, we'll be looking for candidates who has the interest of sharing Bahasa Melayu and culture to the students in the US. Now, of course, it's just not limited to the students in the US. If the institution that you are going to be placed at also has other Fulbright FLTA recipients, it is also sharing and bringing your country's culture to them as well. Okay, now in terms of being able to be self-reliant and be creative and be willing to work cooperatively as part of a team, staff and students. Now this is something that we also look strongly, because in terms of how the structure of the program is going to be like, and this is something that our alumni Siti Sarah will be covering a little bit more as well, and you will understand as we go through the presentation. You will know what is required of you, and why is one of the important point that we look at as well, in terms of you must be willing to work in the group, because there will be group activities as well, there will be group conversations, there will be part where you are required to work as a team and not as an individual alone. Okay, so please be open-minded to work creatively, and please be open-minded to new ideas, willingness to learn as well, in adapting to either living in a rural or an urban area. Depends on where you are going to be placed. All right. In terms, this is looking for those who are eligible requirements. Now, individuals who are considered not eligible to apply for the program. One is if a teacher has got more than 7 years of full-time experience, okay, will not be eligible to apply. Now, this program is open for minimum early educators from the secondary school onwards. Okay, so if you are a teacher from secondary school or even a higher learning institution, you are applicable to apply for this program. All right. Now, individuals who are not eligible are basically, as I mentioned, anyone who is currently working or studying anywhere outside Malaysia. Okay, I know probably this does not apply so much to Malaysians, but individuals who holds a dual citizenship or even a permanent residence of a US will not be able to apply for this program. Okay, and if there is anyone who happen to know anybody or any relative who is working in the US Department of State, or even including temporary employments and families who works in such organizations, they will not be able to participate in the Fulbright program as well. Okay, so I hope with this, it kind of like gives you an idea about where you stand in terms of for the eligibility part of the program. Okay, so you have basically known a little bit about the program now, a little bit of a little bit about the eligibility. Now, let's go a little bit about what is expected of you in terms of like once you are on the program. Okay, now this is a non-degree program and it is for 1 academic year. Okay, so which is approximately about 9 to 10 months. All right, and non-renewable means to say that if your grant, you cannot extend your grant beyond 9 to 10 months, cannot be renewed to be extended. Okay, so if your duration is going to be given to you, if it's going to be for 9 months, then that is the 9 months that you would actually have to serve for basically 1 academic year that they consider. All right. Now, grants cannot be postponed to any subsequent academic year. So let's just see for any particular reason, if you have been selected to go on the program, but due to unforeseen circumstances, you are not able to fulfill and go for that academic year, you cannot carry forward your grant to the following academic cycle. All right. Unfortunately, you will have to reapply for the following year's competition and go through the whole interview process again. All right. Now, in terms of for this program, as I've mentioned, host institution would be selected for you. All right. So you do not have to find your host institution in the US. Macy will work together with IIE, and we will do the university placement for you. So when you are informed about which host institution you would be placed at, you are required to complete your Fulbright grant at that specified host institution. You are not allowed to request for change, and you're not allowed to change your host institution. All right, okay. In addition to that, all right, a Fulbright grant will consider to be activated upon you having a passport, a valid J1 visa, and of course being able to enter to the US safely. All right, so grant activation is considered active based on also these reasons, and of course in addition to getting clearance on your medical. Okay, so that does not mean that, for example, if a person has a valid passport and so on, okay, I got a J1 visa and so on, means my grant is considered activated. There is more towards it as well. You must be able to enter the US and be able to fulfill the requirements there. Only then the grant is considered activated. Okay. This info now is going to be talking more about what is expected of you while you are on the program. Okay, so it's not just a cultural exchange as well. You would be expected to go there and teach language courses. And as mentioned, like say, be open to learning and so on. And this is where it comes into place as being involved in extracurricular support, extracurricular activities, all right? Being able to participate in community events or lectures, and also, in addition to that, contributing to any language materials development. Okay, so you're not only just going to be sharing or learning, correct? It is also if there's any material development that you are required to actually come up with in that institution that you are going to be placed, you will be involved in that as well. Okay, so basically so far the program gives you an idea for you to teach, for you to learn, for you to share, for you to contribute. Okay, all right. Now, in addition to that as well, there is also a coursework component. All right, so when there is a need for you to participate in coursework components or even in classroom related activities, this is something you must be open to as well. Now, in terms of coursework, it is either offered in either the audit or the credit basis. So if you have more questions relating to what is expected of you in terms of the coursework, what is expected of you in terms of like material development, we can take your questions and we will answer them further by providing you more information which our alumni will be able to answer. Okay. In addition to all those, an FLTA recipient will also be required to assess in language classes. Now, per week, there is at least up to 20 hours of language classes, all right, that you must be able to assist. Also, in addition to that, being as a person who is going there to teach as well as to contribute, you also have a component where you will be like a student as well. So this is where you will be required to enroll in 2 courses per semester. All right. So what are the 2 courses and so on? One of it is it can be an open subject. The other one must be in US studies. Okay. All right. So just to give you a basis about what the whole program is about. So basically you are seeing now it's not just a cultural program, but there is a component where you'll be teaching languages. There'll be a component where there will be community events, there will be extracurricular support, there will be language material developments, participation in coursework, and then there is the enrolling in courses per semester as well. Okay, so it's pretty much, I would say, a holistic learning circle, not just you contributing, but you getting back as being a student and being able to learn as well. Okay, which of course you would be benefiting in a sense where you are getting opportunities not only to just, I would say, put forward whatever understanding that you're bringing and learning at the same time, but you'll be benefiting in a classroom setting where you are learning about the American culture in a classroom setting, in American setting, as well as they are learning from you. Okay. Okay, so now let's touch about the award benefits for this grant. Now for this grant, number 1 is travel is covered. Okay, so Macy and IAE will make arrangements for your round trip airfare. All right, that will be arranged for the applicant. The applicant for this program will also receive a monthly stipend, and normally the monthly stipend will be given and it's enough to cover housing as well as meals and daily living expenses. Okay, there will also be allowances, and this is one-time allowance that is basically paid out. It is a one-time settling in and equipment allowance that will be paid. So far, normally, as far as I know, allowances is something that you might receive before you go, or either it will be incorporated in your first monthly stipend that you receive when you are in the US. Right? In terms of university and J1 visa support, now I mentioned just now that in terms of placement, for placement assistant, BASI will work together with IAE to find your placement for you, so you don't have to worry that, oh my God, I need to have a host institution before I travel. No, we will do the placement for you. In terms of J1 visa support, BASI will arrange the visa interview session for the applicant. All right. So for J1 visa, and this is the type of visa that Fulbrighters normally go, they receive this visa, there is no visa fees that will be charged. So we will help you and provide you the guidance that you need, together with the support that you need in terms of getting all the documents organized before you go for your visa interview. All right. So under University and J1 visa support, we are here to give you the guidance that you need up until you fly. All right. Now for the health plan, so for all J1 visa holders that goes for Fulbright programs, they will be covered under what we call as SP, or the Accident and Sickness Program for exchanges. So throughout your duration that you will be there on the program, you will be covered by SP. Okay, all right. Now, in addition to all this that is mentioned, all Fulbrighters, whether they are going for the Fulbright FLTA program or even the other Fulbright programs that we offer, Fulbrighters are basically open to a network of all the alumni. So, like the other Fulbright programs as well, the FLTA also has got their own network. All right, or they are also connected to all the Fulbrighters, the alumni. So this program will also give you the support or the platform you need to get connected with any alumni, with any part of the world. All right, not just with alumni from other programs, but as I've mentioned, FLTA applicants from other countries while you are already on program. Okay, so this is going to give you a huge networking opportunity to not just be able to build relationships with the FLTA recipients that you see from other countries, but as you go along in the program and you join all the other kinds of activities as well, you're just going to be building relationships with the students as well as meeting professionals from diverse cultures as well as backgrounds. Okay, so I hope now this has given you a little bit about the program and a little about what the award benefits are for this program. Now we will dive a little bit deeper to provide you with more information in terms of like if you haven't started your application yet, all right? So for those of you who haven't started your application, right, the first thing that you will need to do in order to apply for this program is basically visit the MISI website, proceed on to the Fulbright FLTA program announcement page, and there you'll be able to see the click to apply button, hit that button, and exactly you'll be directed to this particular page that you're seeing at your screen right now. Okay, so for those of you who are first-time users, you will have to create an account. But for those of you who already have an account before, okay, let's just say you have started an FLTA application in the past, but you did not submit. All right, so you are considered as a returning user. You will just have to log in using the login credentials that you have before, and you can continue to start a new application for this application cycle. You do not have to do the steps like a first-time user needs to do. All right. And once you do that, you log in. This is the page that you'll be able to see. All right. You will need to complete the first few sections, all right, by answering a couple of simple questions before you move on to one of the important section, which is the country information section. All right, as you can see in the screenshot here. Now, it's very important that under this section, you ensure that the award that you are selecting or the program information that is mentioned there, the award cycle is correct. Okay, the competition year should be for 2027-2028. All right, okay, so when you are under this section, just ensure you check this information before you proceed on to the next following sections as you go along in your application. Okay, so the next few sections, we're going to touch about what each section is going to be asking you, and basically what are the crucial steps that you need to do before you actually submit your entire application. Now, very straightforward in terms of that your personal information, your contact information, you're providing us with details of yourself, emergency contact, email addresses, and so on. Okay, so very straightforward for the first two sections as you go along. If you see under the academic and professional information, this is actually where you're just providing us a little bit about your academic background. You will be required to also upload your resume or your CV. Okay, if you have received any awards or any recognition, any scholarships before, under the academic and professional information is where you actually state this info. Okay, for the next one, which is academic materials, this is where you will need to upload all your transcripts and certificates. Now, there's one thing that I want to stress very clearly in terms of like when it comes to transcripts and certificates. Now, please pay extra attention when it comes to this, because most of the time, one of the reasons that basically an application is considered incomplete is because they either give us just the transcript or either they just give us the certificate. Now, when we say when we say a complete set, what we want to see is that for all the qualifications that you're submitting, ensure that you're giving us the academic transcript together with the certificate and not either one. Okay, all right. So when you are uploading, just ensure that you're giving us both these particular documents. Otherwise, your application will be considered as incomplete. All right. Now, under language skills, basically it's very straightforward. You're providing us information on your native language. If you have the ability to speak any additional language, please include it under this section as well. Now, under standardized test scores, if you have taken any English test before, if you're taking a language test before, and if you have got scores that are still valid, that you can basically include, this is a section that you can actually provide those information. And I've mentioned before that it is not it's not a must, it's not a mandatory for you to have a test score, or it's not mandatory for you that you have to provide us with a date for the TOEFL score. Vouchers will be provided to only shortlisted candidates. Okay, all right. In terms of the next few slides, is pretty straightforward. Under FLTA information, it is asking you about your teaching experiences as well as interests. So please pay a little bit of attention when you're providing us with all those information there. In terms of plagiarism, it's a very straightforward thing. It's just asking you to read through the information directly and informing us that you have acknowledged the information that you have actually read and that you agree with everything. Now, please take note that plagiarism is taken very strictly in all the Fulbright programs. So you will be considered ineligible for the program if any part of your Fulbright application is found to have been plagiarized. Okay, essays and objectives is a very crucial part of the application. This is something that I will be touching more in detail in the next few slides, and this is something that our alumni Siti Sarah will be going a little bit in depth. But the information that you will need to give us is basically that why you're applying for the program and answering some questions when it comes under this section. Now, the last few sections of additional information, if you have any supplemental materials that you would like to include to strengthen your application, this is the section that you will actually use to upload any additional information you have. And the authorization to release the information, it would be, okay, this is where you actually have to give us information about your recommenders. So authorization to release the information is that you're giving right for them and also for us to review the information where you are going to submit, and also the information where your recommenders are going to provide on your behalf. Okay, all right. In terms of recommended registration, this is where you'll be putting information like your recommender's name as well as their email address. Now, when you do that, all right, the system will actually send out an instruction email for your recommender to complete an online form. Okay, so when you are selecting a recommender, please ensure that you are providing a name of a recommender, number one, that is available to fill up the form for as long as the program is open, meaning that they submit their recommendation before the application deadline closes, which is 31st July. All right. So I know that some people might be saying, okay, there's still time. The recommenders will tell you there is still time for me to submit. But please, this is one of the very important areas that always an applicant gets stuck, is because they submit, but their recommender is not able to submit their recommendation on time. All right, we have seen this many times. So before you select, don't just select a recommender that can speak on your abilities, on your character, on your potential, but very basically make sure the recommender is available first to give you the recommendation before they say anything about you. Okay, all right, so and they have to complete the online form. Okay, we will not accept any other recommendation via any other channel besides through the online form. Okay, now the last few is, of course, basically signing off that all the information that you've provided is correct, is true. And before you hit the submit button, make sure you go back and you review all the information again on all the section to ensure there is no errors and there's no inconsistencies or even missing information. All right. So I'm sure that you might be looking at this right now and probably like, oh my God, there's a lot of things to complete. Yes, there is. There is still deadline. There's still time for you away from the deadline for you to start and to complete. So if you have started your application and you're midway, that's a good thing. You can take time to actually complete as you go along. But for those of you who are still thinking, okay, there is time, I haven't started yet, I suggest that you look at it as soon as possible and take the time and complete it rather than doing a last minute application. Okay. Okay, so I'm at my last few slides before I hand it over to Siti Sarah to dive deeper about objectives and motivation. But just to give you an idea of what this is about, as this is considered one of the crucial part of the application. So under the section as you go along, there will be essays and objectives, all right? Now, under essays and objectives, okay, is basically referred to the objectives and the motivation to apply for the Fulbright FLTA program. Okay, so under objectives and motivation, what we will need from you, we will need from you a very well-structured essay. All right, an essay that is basically talking or addressing about your background, your qualifications, past experiences that has basically developed you personally where you are right now, the reasons that you want to apply for this program. All right, and how applying for this program or how being an FLTA recipient is going to assist you to achieve your long-term career goals. Okay, so the objectives and motivation. In terms of, I would say, the length of how long this essay should be, all right, we are looking at nothing or a minimum of at least 700 words in length. All right, nothing that you should go on more than, I would say, less than 700, or nothing more than, I would say, maybe most come to most, so 1.5 pages. All right, please don't exceed anything more than 2 to 3 pages for each and every part of this part of the section or this part of the application. Okay, now under teaching methodologies and techniques, okay, what we look at is basically focusing on the type of teaching methods and techniques that you would like to utilize when you are teaching Bahasa Melayu to the US students. All right, so what kind of methods you're going to use, any type of creative methods that you're going to be using, anything, any creative ideas, please include all these under this section. Now, in terms of how long this should be, all right, okay, it should be something within 300 to 500 words in length. Okay, so if you have any innovative teaching approaches that you would like to utilize, please include it under this section as well. All right. Now, the last few sections under sharing culture, this is very straightforward. There will be a couple of scenarios that you'll be asked. So you would actually need to select which scenario that you're going to address and explain that how basically being a cultural ambassador of this program, okay, and how you would like to share your culture in the scenario that you have chosen, basically in your unique issue. All right, so there will be a few scenarios that will be given. Choose one and explain how you would like to share your culture. All right, so I think pretty straightforward. And in terms of this part, we look around nothing less around, say, maybe 300 to 500 words in length. Okay, so what you would actually be required to do is that plan and map out your answers properly to ensure that every single response that you are planning for every single essay, it is well structured, it is clear, and it is concise. Okay, all right, so hope that this little bit has given you an idea about in terms of when you come to this part of the application, what is required of you. All right. Now, just a little bit to touch a little bit on the recommendation, as I mentioned before. All right. You know that your recommenders have to submit through an online application form. So, an online recommendation form, you need to at least submit minimum 3 professional references. So, they can either be from an instructor or from a work superior or even a professor. Okay. All right. So this is what the whole structure of the online application holds. Okay, so you've already now know a little bit about the program, the award benefits, how is it like, what is expected of you as you go along through the application process. Okay, so what lies ahead after that? What happens after the application process? Okay, so submit your application to us via the online application system by July 31st. Okay, now once the deadline closes, Macy will review all the application. Now, if you are shortlisted for the interview, it will be sometime in September 2026. Now, successful applicants who basically passes through the interview, all right, their project or basically their proposal or application will be reviewed by the US Department of State. Okay, and if you are selected to go for the program, you will be notified, or the nomination announcement would be made sometime by March 2027. And those who are selected or nominated to go on the program starts by August 2027. Okay, so hope that with this, it gives you an idea now that what happens after the application closes and roughly what happens during that in between time frame, and why that, okay, the academic cycle is 2027 and that you're applying 1 year in advance. Okay, all right. So with that, okay, I now would like to call upon our alumni, Siti Sarah binti Yusoff, who has, as has ZE mentioned, just returned from her program. She was placed in Ohio University. She's our alumni from the 25-26 cohort. So she's going to share more insights on the objectives, motivation, teaching methodology and techniques, as well as sharing your culture. Over to you, Sarah.
Thank you very much, Karenjit. Now, hi everyone. As you can see, I am in the setting of Bilik Guru somewhere in Perak. So, hi, now I'm currently the alumni for the FLTA, and I just came back. I went there somewhere last year on the 15th of August. And today my job is to basically give you few guides on writing the 3 essays that you need to write. Okay. We can go to the next slide. Okay. So I know that with applications like this, writing is like the thing that you dread the most. Is like, oh my God, I have to write an essay, and now you have to write 3. Fret not. Honestly, it didn't take much for me to write this. It's basically just me, because during that time I was very determined. You know what? I need to have a little bit of change in the environment. I want to learn something. I was very determined to get an offer where I'm able to improve myself as an English language teacher. So when you're that determined, writing an essay, despite hearing it, oh, it's 700 to 800 words, it is not intimidating at all. Now, to begin with, the first one, I think this is the longest essay that you would have to write. This is the objectives and motivation. Again, for the objectives and motivation, basically you have to write what motivates you to apply for this program, basically. Okay. Now, assuming that they have chosen me, I mean, Karen has chosen me to talk on this. I am assuming they liked my my essay. So, okay, how I did mine was that approaching this particular objective and motivations essay, go in it thinking that you are telling a story of what inspires you to become a teacher. Okay, why did you apply for it? Now, don't just list things out. Definitely, they said that there are a few things, few criteria that you need to put into the essay. Don't simply list them out. Tell a story. Okay, not like tell a story from the beginning, yada yada yada. For me, how I started was I began with writing why I became a teacher. So this is in a way uh, if you, I mean, all of us here are educators basically. So there's one point of your learning process to become a teacher is you have to write down your teaching philosophies. So basically this is it. But add to that your experience of practicing those teaching philosophies. What has happened with you after you have applied those philosophies in your daily life as an educator. So first and foremost, tell a story, don't just list things out. Try to organize your essay in a way in which it flows nicely. Maybe you would like to tell your story as a teacher chronologically, but then while you're telling that, put in the main points that are required in that from the required list that they have. Okay, and with that, after that, you should always include insightful details. Always be very specific with your details. For example, really write down what influenced you, number one, to become a teacher. Number two, what influenced you to actually apply for this scholarship. Um, and as educators, you know that you influence others in your life. It could be your students, definitely. It's going to be your students. It's definitely going to be your coworkers as well. Now, in detail, mention how you have influenced them and how they have influenced you back. So this is something that they want to see because you're trying to basically prove yourself as an educator. You're trying to tell the story now. You're trying to tell your story of why you deserve to get the scholarship. And they don't know you. They have never met you. They don't know your story. So this is the time for you to basically express yourself and explain to them, this is me. And this is why I deserve to get the scholarship. Okay. You can also include the impact that you have made as an educator and then how you want the program to help you improve as an educator. For me personally, myself, when I applied for this, I was in a place where I feel like I was stuck in a rut and I really wanted to um, basically add in, I have said basically a lot. So I just wanted to be in a place where I'm able to grow as an educator. What else can I learn? I want to learn something new because 4 years of being in the same place, doing the same thing, you will feel like, oh, this is extremely redundant. So for me, this is what I want from this program. I want to have the ability to explore new skills as an educator. I want to improve myself. So that's something that you have to specifically mention. If you have any other goals that you wish to get or gain from this experience, list them out. And again, be very specific about them. And another thing is use specific action verbs. Now, for me, what I did was I went on Harvard. Harvard actually offers this free course or a free PDF on how to write a resume. What I've done is that I've actually taken hints from the Harvard website on action verbs to use in your resume. So I've included that. So if you have the time, you can go online, you can search Harvard resume, and then they will give you guide on what words, what action verbs to be used specifically for teaching and so on. Okay. Write in active voice, as you know, and also share your accomplishments. Again, these people would like to know you. So what you can do is share your accomplishments. Now make sure that you specifically mention what are the quantitative and also qualitative achievements that you've made throughout your journey as an educator. And this should also include activities or experiences that you had inside the classroom as well as outside of the classroom. Okay, so with the experiences, if you have conducted an activity on your own, you could basically include it in your essay as well. That say that I have gone out of my way, I have created this opportunity for my students so that I can help enrich their English learning activities and how that could encroach into things outside of the classroom as well. Okay, and then all of these things that you have mentioned, always try to relate it back to the application that we're making. Okay. And then as always, with all essays, it should all come into full circle. So make sure you connect the beginning to the end of, the beginning, try to connect it back to the beginning of the essay. Okay. All right. So that is for the longest essay, which is the objectives and motivation. Now for the next one, which is on, okay. So this is how I structured mine. This is an example. So you can see, I'm so sorry. Biasa bilik guru. I do apologize for the noise. So again, this is how I structured mine. First, I wrote down what inspired me to become a teacher, which is basically my mom. And then from then on, I expanded on how what did I do to basically make myself I try to make myself a good educator. So education background on how I improve myself as a teacher. And in the following paragraph, I followed it with the teaching background and achievements that I've made. So I've mentioned the schools that I've taught, the background of the students, and also like what I have gained from these experiences. In the following paragraph, I mentioned the world of education that I'm in and how I overcome challenges. Now, all of us are educators here, and with the education system in Malaysia, we know that the students that we teach, they come from various backgrounds, and we know that we do our best to help them. Okay. So you need to tell what you have done to help them to progress in life. So list those things out. Don't be shy. Don't be like, you know what? I don't think I'm supposed to list out. Oh, go ahead, list them out because that is your effort, the things that you have done so far. So mention that. And towards the end, what I've written is that I have listed out what I hope that I learned from the experience, and then how basically this FLTA program could improve me. How will it improve your teaching experience? What do you wish to gain from these experiences? So this is how I myself have structured my objectives and motivations essay. So yeah, again, the longest part. Now, moving on to teaching methodologies. For those who have already opened up the application, you know the type of a question that they give you. They basically give you a question. It's like, okay, what teaching methodologies are you going to apply into the classroom? It's easy. You just have to write 300 words, basically a very simple description of what you plan on doing. So you have to visualize yourself teaching in the classroom. Again, these would be a bunch of students who probably never had any exposure to the Malay language. So you have to be creative, okay? So you have to look at you need to find impactful lesson plans or our higher order thinking skills activities. So basically that's it. You can also refer to high leverage teaching practices. And as you can see, these are the activities that I did with my students and also the activities that I actually wrote in my application. So I mentioned that, to learn colors, I would bring a batik set, which I did. And then for teaching a direction, what I did was I made a map. I put them in Malay. I put the name of the shops in Malay, and then the students had to like put the correct pictures of the shops on top of the names of the shops. And then but again, when you are writing out the teaching methodologies that you will be applying, make sure they are achievable and realistic. Okay. Know your strength and then try to include it into the type of teaching that you would like to have. Uh, you need to also, while writing teaching methodologies, you should also state how it can help the students learn. And then you should also connect the language learning to culture. For me, what I did was that when I got the confirmation that I will be an FLTA, I immediately opened up the calendar and I looked at the classes. I coincide them with the lessons and the Malaysian holidays. So, for example, if it's Chinese New Year, I will be learning and I will be teaching them animals. So they would know. I was like, oh, Chinese New Year, they're gonna learn tahun kuda, tahun anjing, and so on and so forth. So yeah, you can do that. You can apply that. again, this is the for this writing, you need to basically visualize yourself teaching there and what interesting ways that you can think of applying to teach these students. And again, also focus on using resources that are like include technology, include cultural things, include anything that would make your lesson interesting. Okay, so that's the teaching methodologies. As you can see here, I did for my classes, I used an online I think it was quizzes. So it's very interactive. Everyone has a chance to provide their answer and we can check on the spot as well. Okay, so that's teaching methodologies. If you want to write, that is what you're going to write. Okay, now sharing your culture. This is the final part of the essay that you have to write, and you would have to give your own opinions on how you're supposed to share your cultures in three different scenarios. Um, so realistically, this essay is necessary because this is what you will be doing. Every single week there will be like a cultural thing that you will be involved in. So they want to hear what can you offer? Okay, what interesting things do you have? What new things can you introduce to the students in the US? Okay, or other students from around the world, because the university does have like a lot of students, international students. So what can all of you share in that one place? Okay, so you need to first and foremost educate yourself in all the various cultures that we have in Asia. Don't focus on one. Just because you're Malay doesn't mean that, oh, let's just focus on Malay culture. No, 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 no. Because you're teaching Malay, let's just focus on Malay culture. No. Malaysia is rich with diversity and all of the cultures and stuff. Teach them everything. Like I mentioned, on Chinese New Year, I teach them about Chinese New Year, on Deepavali, on Taipusam. I taught them about Taipusam, and actually the students came over like last week. So I took them, so I taught them about Taipusam when we were back in the US in Ohio University, and they came over last week and I took them to Batu Caves and they were so excited. They took a lot of pictures. So yes, include things that is just not restricted to one culture. Explore all of the culture in Malaysia and find out what you can offer to the students. Okay. All right. Think of how you can represent Malaysia through various lenses, not just the food aspect, but also dances, the arts, the traditions. For taboo, what happened, what I did was that for Halloween, I shared with them the types of ghosts in Malaysia and also the things that are taboo in Malaysian culture. For example, don't sit on the steps, or what else, don't sing in the kitchen, those kind of things. And also you can add in architecture. And one more thing, if you have a specific skill that you do have, for example, playing traditional instruments, or if you can dance, please put it here. Advertise your skill. Okay, as you can see, we are involved with dancing. There will be classes where you would be someone who is invited to talk about your specific culture. So, because this is in the second picture here, and then you will be involved in a wayang kulit as well. And the biggest picture here in the middle. So these were my students. They had to help me with basically like offering nasi lemak to like a group of students, to the university students. So this is like a food fair. So this is what they did. They help. I cook the food, but then they're the one who's scooping up and then asking, oh, would you like to have some anchovies and stuff? So yeah, include these interesting creative activities. So for sharing your culture, the point is that you need to figure out, display what skills you have, um, basically offer what cultural aspects that you can bring to the university, and also be creative in your approach. And if you can see the last picture here at the bottom there, that is where the university students, they didn't even study Malay, but then they're responsible to go to a high school and they had to open a booth for each and every country that is available. And these two students, they're responsible for Malaysia, and they had to do the preparation. to represent Malaysia and basically explain to the students at that high school what is Malaysia, what is there to offer. And for me, the games that I taught them was Batu Seremban, and it was a hit. They love Batu Seremban. So yeah, basically that's it. These are like the things that you should consider when you are writing your own essay, and I hope you have a lot to offer, and I hope you do your best.
Thank you so much, Sarah. I must say that as I listen to you, as well as you cover what you have actually written in your application, as well as how you shared your culture through all the respective activities that you conducted, it's really, really very interesting to see how you actually thought them and how two of your students had to basically open up a booth about and speak about Malaysia. I think I was there, I would be very nervous, but it's definitely a very, very good learning experience. So hope with whatever that has been shared with you so far in terms of the application and how are you going to write a more compelling objective or your motivation in terms of your goals and so on. This has given you a very good picture. Before we open up the Q&A session, we'll be having a similar info session, but this will be an alumni insight info session that's going to be talking to you a bit more about teaching and planning, as well as, of course, if you know that this is a cultural program, talking a little bit about cultural exchange. We have our two alums who have actually gone for the program. They will be talking to you a little bit in depth. So this alumni info session would be on June 17th. So please do not forget to register for this session. To register, all you have to do is to go through the FLTA program announcement page on our Macy website, and there's a link there for you to be able to register. Or you can actually scan the QR code on our website or on our Macy media platforms, social media platforms, to register for this info session. So please do not miss out on this. There will be a lot of other information that will be shared with you as well. And if you have any questions, please email us at fulbrightmalaysia@macy.org.my. If you have any further questions beyond this, please also, if you don't want to call, please feel free to reach out to us as well. And with that, we would now open our Q&A session. So if you have any questions for us, either you would like to unmute yourself and ask us the question, or you can actually put your questions in the chat box. Okay, so while we wait for some questions to roll in, perhaps, Sarah, I can start with just like one question for you. You've been talking about how to put in the application, right? So this is just to give an idea for those on the call today. Now, for those who are putting in their application, now for you, what was basically your overall strategy when you were putting up your FLTA application? Like what did you decide to prioritize? I mean, I know that you went through the objectives and so on. You were giving us insights about how you planned your answer, right? But that was for that part of it. How did you prioritize your entire FLTA application?
I think what I prioritize is that I try to highlight the things that I can offer for this program, because this is a two-way thing. So I mentioned that, so I listed out things that I feel like, okay, this makes me like I can provide this when I go there. So it's like an exchange thing. It's like this is just not me going there and then teach. No, what else can I give apart from teaching? And also, what else do I prioritize? Basically, with anything that you're applying, with any jobs that you're applying, try to think outside of the box and what makes you different than the other candidates. Okay. So prioritize on highlighting those strengths that you have. For me, my strength, I know that I have had experiences teaching in various background. I've taught IGCSE, I've taught at international schools, I've taught at government school, primary school, secondary school. So that's why I feel like that is my strength. So that is why I highlighted those things in my application. So yeah.
I have a
Okay,
question. Sorry, before we go to Glory and Cheryl. Okay, I'm just gonna turn on my video. I mean, even being in the commission, this is always top of mind question, probably not just for me, but for most of the staff at Macy. So Siti Sarah, BM, it's BM in Malaysia. It's like our national language. And I think a lot of people do not understand the logic behind somebody from Malaysia teaching BM in the US, like specifically for you, because you're not teaching something that you're not familiar with.
Mhm.
So I think my actual question is, what is the greatest takeaway or takeaways being a Malaysian, teaching our own language in the US for 9 months? How does that benefit you and your school and Malaysia as a whole in this regard?
Well, the thing is, the students who will be applying for to learn English in in Ohio University, they were basically students who applied for internship. So yeah, the students that I taught last year, they're actually here right now doing their internship. So what you have to do is you have to introduce them to the language, and these students most of the time they have never been introduced to the language themselves. So you as an educator, what you have to do is you have to scale yourself down back to basically the roots of the language itself. Okay, so because I'm used to teaching like higher level learners, right? So you're, for example, some of you, you're from IPG, you're from teaching, some of you are teaching high schools. So it's an opportunity for you to strip down the language and then learn the basics again, the basics of acquiring the second language. Now, what you get from that is that you will understand the process of learning for the weaker students, because as teachers in Malaysia, we know that in a classroom there could be students who score 80 for English, and also a handful of students who scored like 11 or 12 in English. So what the this experience provided me was to strip down everything, all of the language part, and then go back to basics and learn again. I was like, how does one acquire language? So by teaching Malay, I can translate that into how can I apply all of that knowledge back to Malaysia. And one of the courses that I took, two of the courses that I took, is basically teaching world languages. So basically, we learn how to apply those skills, not only for classrooms in the US, but also classrooms here in Malaysia. So that's what I guess.
Sorry, I have a follow-up question because there's no way to do this than to hear it from you directly. So for those who are applying or interested to apply, I think one of the biggest challenge would be convincing your school or your principal or your HOD to send you there for 9 months to teach Bahasa Melayu. So I think if I'm the employer, I'd be like, hey, Siti Sarah, what would the school benefit from this experience apart from you benefiting entirely as an individual?
Mm.
So in that sense, how do I convince my school and my HOD to send me for this program since it is a 9 months program?
So, well, to be frank, if you're working with the government of Malaysia right now, this is a cuti bergaji penuh. That's the status that I got. Cuti bergaji penuh. I don't get money from the Malaysian government, but I still retain my monthly salary. So more reasons to apply. Okay. But in a sense where how I help the school community is when I go back to the school, I'm able to share my experience with the teachers as well. And also like what I did was I asked for context for the high school teachers back in the US. So the thing that I do every year is I do like a pen pal thing. So with the context that I have now, I'm able to extend it to the to for my students to write like two students further away, because usually I do it within Malaysia. Now they have the opportunity. And what I'm hoping to do is I'm hoping to also, how I can help the community is by talking more about this program, like encouraging people to actually like not be afraid to apply. And I've met like because I went to Sarawak the other day for my friend's wedding, and I met other educators, and what I did was apply for this, apply for this. So that's what I've been doing. It's like just encouraging people to come out of their shell and basically take opportunities. there's nothing to lose basically. Just apply. So yeah, that's that. I feel like that's the best thing that I can do. For the school, I hope, it's okay because I've moved school. So that principal, she's happy to help me anyways, because she is someone who encourages the teachers to actually expand their teaching abilities and stuff. So yeah. So I'm very grateful in a sense that I get that type of principal to lead me.
Well, thank you so much for that. And before I hand it over to Karen to go through the questions, we would like to stress here that all our Fulbright programs, including FLTA, are fully supported, fully endorsed by the Ministry of Higher Education and also the Ministry of Education. So all the programs opening or opened, they will definitely be published on MOE or MOHE's website. So that is to give assurance to all of you, in addition to what Siti Sarah has just said, it is a cuti bergaji. Correct? Okay, now Karen, back to you to tackle all the questions.
Thank you, Sarah, and thank you, Zim. Just before we take a few questions that came in through the chat, I just want to say a little bit more, adding on to how Siti Sarah was stressing about putting up the application, prioritizing what she thought was important and listing it down. And this is something that it goes across for all our Fulbright applications or alumni who have shared information about how they have put in and how they prepare the application is basically to be as genuine as possible, because you want to put in a very honest application, an application which you're going to share information about yourself. So put in and sit down and plan as you structure your answers. Just be as genuine as possible, and not with the idea that you have to come up or with such a compelling application. It has to be outstanding. It has to be superb. No, you just be as genuine as possible, because it's through your application is how we get to know you, and that is the starting point of it. All right. Okay, so to take on the first question, which actually I have asked for a little bit more context, is actually Glory, who has reached out to us from Sabah. Glory, thank you for joining us all the way from Sabah. And Sarah, she says, thank you for such the insightful sharing. But now, just to clarify, now, does educators only refers to teachers, or does it also include to those who are working in the broader education field? Now, Glory, to address your question, I did reply by asking more context, but what I can basically answer at this point in time is that this program is open to teachers, yes, secondary school teachers who has got the work experience of 7 or less than 7 years. Now, in terms of when you are referring to those who are working in the broader education field, I'm not sure if you are working on the administration side, but we are mainly looking for teachers who are basically either secondary school teachers or those educators who are working in higher learning institutions. So I hope I've pretty much covered your question, right? Okay, moving along, we've got this question coming from Cheryl. So Cheryl is saying that she's in her 6th year of teaching. And since this program is for the 2027 academic year, would I be eligible since I'll be in my 7th year of teaching by then? Yes, Cheryl, you are still eligible to apply. Don't worry about you being in your 6th year and next will be the 7th. Please proceed to put in your application. You still fall within that 7 years and below bracket. Right. Sarah, this question is from you, from Muhammad Shahmi. He's saying, Sarah, from an early application until arrive in the US, basically he's trying to ask is all the part of the application and everything, did you do it on your own or did someone guide you?
I mean, you guided me basically. You gave me the instructions. Okay, so for the application, basically I did my own research. I applied by myself. And then for since the day that I got I mean Karenjit called me and said that congratulations, you got the scholarship. From then onwards, what I did was I basically had to call Bahagian Tajaan because I work with the government. So I have to call Bahagian Tajaan and I asked them. So I asked how I went through the process is that I called the people who are responsible for each and everything, each and every aspect of, for me to prepare me to go to the US. And for the flights, Karenjit handled it all. Karenjit would explain everything, and I'm just like, okay, all right, I'll send the documents to you, yada, yada, yada. Karenjit will be very helpful, Zaim as well. So basically, they will tell you what to do. You just have to follow the instructions. And then even your flight at KLIA, you have to manage yourself. And then when you land, um, you would have to basically you need to start making contacts once you got the confirmation of which university you would be put in. So basically you have to be quite proactive and then you have to find your way. If I can make it, you guys can do it as well. Okay. If me,
Okay.
I can make it, you can do it as well. Okay.
To jump in on that, to Shami and the rest of the people who are here, um, what we can't help is your application for sure. But even in that regard, we can definitely connect you to our FLTA alumni, like who we have right here with us. She should be able, and she will definitely guide you through, or any of our past alumni. That is one. But once you are selected, all the paperwork will be fully guided by Karen. Actually, not even me. It's Karen and Shahira. Um, that is from your medical check, your flight arrangement. So visa, again, we can't attend your visa interview on behalf, but what we do is all the documentations are fully guided. Your placement will be done by one of our US counterparts. Um, Visa interview is arranged on our end. It is complimentary because this is a government to government exchange program. And yes, flight tickets, that is also done by us. Of course, dates are given by you. That is following the program start and end dates. Um, Apart from that, stipend and so on, everything does come from Macy, i.e. Karenjit and Shahira. So do not worry. Whenever you are stuck, feel free to ask questions. Even if you decide to not apply, how to apply, I'm stuck here and there, we will definitely know how to guide you through or who to connect you to. So, yes, that is in essence what we do here at Macy and what we expect our alumni to help us in. So, Karen.
Yes, echoing to what or adding on to what you said, we understand that as an applicant, it's easy for us to say because we are probably at the other part, we are at the side of the bridge, and you are the applicant. You're probably thinking like, you don't understand what I'm going through. We will not be able to understand fully what you are going through, but we do understand because we've seen this every cycle through every program. And like Zim and Siti Sarah says, Shahira and myself will be here guiding you along the way. What we do here and what we do for you is to reduce what we always say as an administrative anxiety that you may have as you plan your responses accordingly and prep to submit your application, and as well as be selected and to go on the program. So we're gonna handhold you all the way. All right. Of course, there are certain number of things that you will have to do yourself. You will have to be proactive yourself. And I think across the board, this has been highlighted to you in some of the areas where you have to take initiative to do a certain amount of things that you will need to do as well to gain the full success of this program. All right. A few more questions we will take before we wrap up in the next few minutes. The next one came in from Nurin. She said she's very interested to apply for the program. However, she's a primary school Bahasa Melayu teacher and noticed that many alumni are English teachers. Does she still stand a good chance of being selected? Now, in terms of Nurin, in terms of you being a Bahasa teacher does not stand in the way for you to apply for the program. You can, but unfortunately, this program is open from secondary teachers and above, right? So being an early educator, teaching in a secondary school would permit you to actually be eligible to apply for this program. But since in your message you have mentioned you're a primary school teacher, so I'm sorry, I think because you've been teaching in a primary school, so that is actually going to be the little bit of hinder where being ineligible to apply for this program. Okay. A quick question. I'm currently an interim teacher at KPM. Does the program require applicants to hold a permanent position, or interim teachers are eligible to apply as well? Siti Sarah, maybe you can chime in a bit. Does an interim teacher means they are still teachers in the Institute Pengajian? I just want to ensure before I answer this question.
Excuse me. Interim teachers are basically on contract basis. Is
Right.
that correct? I think it's IFA, right? Yeah, I think they are basically teachers on the basis of contract, but they do have basically qualifications as teachers. They are employed under the government. It's just that it is a contract basis. For me, I'm a permanent basis. They are on a contract basis.
Okay, Ifa, that is a really good question. And for me to fully answer your question, I just wanted to, get a little bit of context. But however, this is something that I will check and come back to you because, I just want to know that, whether you do have a permanent position after that. So what you can do is that if you can drop me an email to give me a little bit more context for me to be able to help to answer your question, I will check and revert to you after you reaching out to me. So please drop me an email at our Fulbright Malaysia email. I will get someone to share it to you in our chat, and you reach out to me at the site and I will revert to you. All right, thank you.
And if I do include, if I understand that interim, like what Siti Sarah and both of you confirm that it is a contract position. So what we need to know is if you are registered with MOE, so that is critical. And by contract doesn't mean that you are renewable year on year, or how does the employment goes. So those information is crucial for us to check on the eligibility. So as much information as you can, if you can provide, that would be great. Thank you.
Thank you, Zim, for adding that. That is really helpful. We move on to the next question from Sermon. Can I know whether today's session is recorded and it will be shared? Yes, the session is recorded, and once it is available on our program announcement page, we will email to you and let you know. So the recording will be shared to you. Don't have to worry about that. Yeah. Okay, and the last question came in from Arif Azizi, who is a lecturer and reaching us out from Langkawi. He said, maybe Z, you can take on this question. How many applicants are successfully selected per program?
Okay, hold on, yeah. Arif, I will answer number 2 first. Lecturer, tourism lecturer, yes. To be able to go on the FLTA program, you do not need to be a teacher or lecturer of Bahasa Melayu or Bahasa English. So that is for sure. Any humanities program or even STEM program qualifies you to apply for this program. So that is number 1. In terms of the number of slots, that is entirely up to funding. But as of now, we do send between 2 to 3. We are hopeful that the number of grants can increase. But in average, that is the number that we send for FLTA yearly.
Right, thank you, Zim. And Encik Arif, I hope you have gotten a little bit of clarification with regards to your question. So with that, I just got one more question for our alumni before we wrap up today's session. All right, so Siti Sarah, you have actually probably been mentoring directly, indirectly our applicants on call today. Okay, 2 things. What would be the first thing that you would tell them to focus on, and what would be the advice that you would share with them as they prepare their FLTA application or as they start or complete to submit?
First question, what should they focus on? Basically, focus on seeing what you can give, what you can provide for this program. Highlight, I think at this point, you need to know how to sell yourself. That's one thing. That's one very important thing. Again, as Karenjit mentioned, don't write checks you can check out. Yeah, you can't make the payment for it. There's an English saying where it escapes my mind right now. Don't put out checks that don't write checks that you can't check out. Okay, basically. Write to, again, be honest with your application. That's the only thing. And the most important thing, do not use ChatGPT because this should come from you. Avoid, like, just don't use it because it's so obvious for you to basically, when you use ChatGPT, write from your heart. If you want to use an application for it, just use to check your grammar, and that's it. Okay. Show, highlight, I think basically highlight the best qualities that you have as an educator, as a Malaysians, and these are two things. Highlight what are your strengths as an educator and highlight your strength as a Malaysian, because again, this is a cultural exchange program. So these are the things that you can highlight. And also, again, for the supervisor, for the recommendation thing, find 3 people that you have worked with, because for me, my supervisor, the recommendation letter came from my principal, from my lecturer, for my master's, and also from the person that I did a collaboration with when I took my students to the airport for a school trip, because he can vouch for the work that we did together. So, and make sure that they are able to be punctual with their replies and stuff. Okay, so these are the things that you should focus on. But then apart from that, again, just apply. Just fill up the form. It's really not that hard, and don't second guess yourself. Okay. Again, if I can do it, anyone can do it.
I love that motivational talk, but hold on, Siti Sarah. I think Siti Aisha Zuzurin just joined. Is that correct? If it is who I think you are, please
Aisha is
turn on
here.
your cam. It is her, our current grantee for the program. Can I see you somewhere? Are you? No, she is not on cam. So I thought that we have a grantee and we have a recent returning alumni, so that is good. Karen, what is next? I think that we have a very good motivational speaker from our teacher here.
You mean where Siti Sarah has just started her
Yep,
motivation
very
spree?
encouraging, very inspiring.
I I couldn't add more than what you have already said. She's definitely a pretty impressive choice for the person who has, I think, covered all the bases. Handling all the activities. Actually, one thing that really got me impressed was the type of activities, Siti Sarah, that you came up with, and you actually conducted all those activities back when you were in the US. And like how you said, put in rational and we say achievable activities where you know that you can actually achieve and conduct this in the US. Okay, so with that, I would really like to say a huge thank you to you first, Sarah, for on short notice you actually made yourself available to join us for today's info session. For everyone on the call today, please register for the next alumni info session. As we have already informed you, it will be next week, June 17. It's from 3 to 4 p.m. Please feel free to visit our Macy website. Number 1, to start off your application. Number 2, to continue and submit your application. And number 3, to register for the June 17 info session. If you find the posters available on our social media platforms, you can register through that as well. Yeah, Aisha Zulzuran is our current FLTA for this year. Would you like to come on to turn on your camera to say a few words before we
She's
wrap
not
up,
here.
Aisha?
It's the thing, we've been trying to draw her out.
There she is.
Here she is. You're on mute, by the way.
Yeah, I'm actually right now in the school. We are having like some sort of pre-sport thing.
How are you doing, Aisha? How's your preparation so far?
So far I have fixed the Okta activation problem on my end, and I am currently just like waiting for the leave application from bahagian penajaan.
All
And
ready to go?
yeah, just waiting for the leave application result.
Wonderful. Z, you want to add any more few words to Aisha?
Couldn't be luckier to have a past and present FLTA with us. I think this is a lucky session. But like what one of our famous ex-colleague used to say, if you don't try, you don't even stand a 1% chance. So Siti Sarah just said, what is there to lose? Just submit your application, do your best, be as authentic as possible. You will never know until you become one of them on the screen next year. Right? Am I right, Siti Sarah? Yep.
Yep, you're absolutely right.
And
So
see, she came back happy, and she was
yeah,
happy before she left even.
exactly. It was so much fun. So please just apply, everyone.
All
So
right. And
definitely thank you to Zurida for your wishes to us, and we truly, truly hope that all of you who are attending this session today will apply. And if you're stuck, Karenjit is here, Shahira is here. We will guide you through. Siti Sarah is here. Siti Aisha Zuzarin is here, although she has not gone, but we will make sure to make full use of her before she leaves. So good luck to all of you, and thank you once again for attending. And Karen will wrap this up.
all right, just one coincidence I want to share. We had past alumni Siti Sarah, present alumni going at Siti Aisha. We've got two cities, yeah. So with that, thank you so much, Z, for giving us a lot of good words and reassurance to all our applicants who is on the call with us today. You missed the shots that you don't take. Yeah, so please put in your application, and if you haven't started, please start. You still have time. Don't wait last minute. And if you would like to be connected with the Fulbright FLTA alum, please feel free to reach out to us. And beyond this call, if you have any more questions, kindly just drop us an email at fulbrightmalaysia.macy.org.my. With that, please have a wonderful rest of the evening and take care. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.